What is real fear? That's the question I get asked the most. But no one really wants to hear the answer, because fear isn't a shadow, it's not a creature, not even a sound. Real fear is that moment when you know someone is watching you, but you can't see them. It was 3 years ago. I was out late that night. I had missed the last metro, couldn't find a cab, so I took a bus to a quiet corner of the city. I had to walk the rest of the way home. My phone battery was at 5%. There was a shortcut near the station. I usually avoided it. But that night, I didn't want to waste time. It was deserted. Every step echoed on the pavement. Everyone was home. The yellow light from the street lamps hung over me like a heavy mist. Just as I passed the station wall, I heard footsteps. I didn't look back. Maybe it was just someone walking. But the rhythm matched mine. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I sped up, so did they. That's when I noticed. The lights behind me were going out one by one. Darkness swallowed the path I had walked. Panic surged. I turned toward the 24-hour gas station at the corner. But before I could reach it, someone stepped out from the narrow alley behind the station. Gray hoodie, black cap, face in shadow. He stood in front of me, said nothing. I changed direction, stepped off the sidewalk, turned down another street. My heart was pounding out of my chest. At the end of the street, a notification popped up on my phone. An unknown number, just a location. The shared location was exactly where I was standing, with a note, back up against the wall. As I read it, a lump formed in my throat. I reflexively leaned back against the building's stone wall. My hands were trembling. My eyes scanned the street for movement. There was nothing, but I knew he was there. As my phone screen dimmed, another message came in. Stay there. This time, my feet didn't move. It was as if an invisible hand had rested on my shoulder. The silence in the street wasn't peaceful. It was threatening. Then someone appeared from the corner, the same man. Slowly, hands in his pockets, he started walking toward me. I wanted to run, to scream, but no sound came out. He stopped in front of me, just a few feet away. He didn't speak. He didn't break eye contact. Then he pulled out a phone, turned it toward me. On the screen, a photo taken at the bus stop just minutes earlier. He had been there before I even noticed. What do you want? I asked, my voice shaking. We're playing a game, he said. His tone was calm, cold. If you don't make the right moves tonight, no one will ever find you again. I bolted, ran down the street. Footsteps echoed behind me. My breath was short, but I couldn't stop. I turned into an alley. There was a wire fence ahead. I turned to run back, but he was already behind me. I was trapped. I tried to climb the fence, but my foot slipped. I fell. He stepped closer. This time, I saw his face clearly. He was young, smiling. You lost the game, he said. What do you want from me? He leaned in, whispered in my ear, Tonight will make the rest of your life matter. Every second will belong to me. Then he pulled out my wallet. I hadn't even noticed him take it. He dropped it on the ground and walked away. I couldn't move for a long time. Then I picked up the wallet. Everything was there except my ID. I went home, called the police, told them everything. But the street cameras weren't working. They couldn't find him. As if he never existed. But I remember, and I lived it. Since that night, every notification startles me. Every unknown number eats at my nerves. I don't go out at night. I added new locks to my door. But still, 3 months later, just past midnight, my phone buzzed. A new message, a photo of my front door, with just one sentence underneath. The game is just beginning. Does anyone know a scary story? They asked that night. We were gathered around the fire. Everyone looked at each other, but no one spoke. Then I broke the silence. "I have a story," I said. "But it's not like the others you've heard, because what I'm about to tell you, I lived through it. It all started 3 years ago, during the pandemic. I wasn't going out, working from home, not seeing anyone. I wasn't a social person to begin with, but the isolation was weighing on me. My anxiety increased. I couldn't sleep at night, and I jumped at the slightest sound. As things got worse, I finally decided to seek professional help. After a long search online, I found a therapist with many positive reviews. Sessions were to be online, which was more comfortable for me. During the first session, the therapist was kind and understanding. He introduced himself. His name was Alexander. He was sitting in front of a light-colored wall, the background dim but orderly. His warm expression and reassuring tone made me trust him easily. He asked me to talk about myself, and I did. I felt relieved at the end of that first session. In the following sessions, Alexander began asking me more questions. At first, they seemed like regular therapy questions. What time do you wake up? Logically, which room do you spend the most time in during the day? Zrania, do you keep your curtains closed at night? There was nothing odd in his demeanor. I thought it was part of his method and answered openly. After all, I trusted him. But as the sessions went on, I started to get a strange feeling. His questions were becoming increasingly personal and detailed. One time, he even asked which couch I sit on to watch TV. When I asked why he wanted to know that, he said, "Our daily routines affect our psychological state," and gave a professional-sounding answer. It made sense, so I didn't question it further. One night, at exactly 3:39 a.m., I received a message on my phone. From an unknown number, it was a single sentence. "The gray t-shirt you wore during today's session made you look pale." My heart began to race. What he said was true. I had worn a gray t-shirt that day, but who could possibly know that? I hadn't told anyone. I hadn't posted anything. The only person who could have known was Alexander. I shut off my phone immediately, but I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stop thinking about that message. During the next session, I asked Alexander carefully, "Are our sessions recorded?" His answer was firm, his eyes fixed directly on the camera. "Absolutely not. Everything is completely confidential. I take this very seriously." His voice was calm, his expression reassuring. I wanted to believe him, and I even felt a little ashamed for asking. But the next morning I found an envelope at my door. Inside were a few sentences written plainly on a piece of paper. "My sleep is getting worse. Even with the curtains closed, I feel disturbed from outside." These were exact sentences I had said during a session. But how? Was it Alexander doing this? Someone else? I called Alexander's clinic immediately, but strangely, the woman at the reception couldn't find my name in the system. There were no records of the sessions he had scheduled with me. My name had been erased. When I heard that, I panicked and cut all contact. But the messages continued. Now, from different numbers, at different times. "You didn't open your curtains today. Your chair needs replacing. You drank your coffee later than usual today. Something wrong?" With every message, my fear grew. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't open the curtains. I was constantly being watched. Whoever this was, they knew every detail of my daily routine. I called the police. They came to my house and looked around, but they found no evidence, no camera footage, no digital trace. They said there was nothing more they could do. Then, one night, a new message arrived on my phone. "Tomorrow is your final session." I hadn't requested a session, but in Alexander's system, it was scheduled. The date and time were automatically entered into my calendar. Again, 3:39 a.m. Before that hour, I taped over my computer's webcam and turned off the lights, but I was terrified. Alexander's calm face and soft voice were etched in my mind. I didn't even want to imagine what I'd see on that screen. At exactly 3:39 a.m., my computer screen turned on by itself. A connection appeared. It popped up automatically. I tried to decline it, but the computer wouldn't respond. The screen opened, and Alexander was there. He sat in that same dark, dimly lit room, but this time he had changed the camera angle. Behind him, there were photos of me on the wall. Dozens of pictures taken without my knowledge, in moments I hadn't noticed. "Welcome," he said, smiling. "I think you are ready for your final session." My voice trembled. "What do you want from me?" Alexander's smile deepened slightly. "You were my most special client. I wanted to know you very closely, and now we're ready." Then another window opened on the screen. This time, I was looking at my own front door. It was a live feed from outside. Alexander spoke gently. "I'll be coming to visit you shortly. Don't be afraid." Then the screen went black. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I got out of bed, ran to the door, and checked the locks over and over. Holding my phone, I called the police. I waited at the door until they arrived, but no one came. The next day, the police investigated. There was no therapist registered under the name Alexander. All the information that had existed in the system was erased. No address, no real ID. From that day on, I never saw him again. But still, every night at 3:39 a.m., I wake up and stare at my computer screen. Because I know one day, it will connect again. And this time, he won't just be watching. Social media wasn't just a platform for me. It was an essential part of my daily life. Sharing my photos, recording short videos, letting people in on little pieces of my world, it all made me happy. The interaction with my followers brought a small but satisfying thrill into my life. Likes, comments, messages, they were all a form of approval. At first, all the comments were cheerful. Some liked my outfit, others adored my cat, or asked which cafe I was at. It felt like everyone was a friend, until that message came. That day, I wore a red sweater. I looked at myself in the mirror before leaving home, fixed my hair, and gave myself a little smile. But I didn't post a photo or a story. I grabbed my phone and walked out. When I got home from work, I had a notification. A message from an account with no profile picture and a username made of random letters. "That red sweater you wore today looked great on you." I froze. My heart skipped a beat. It felt like something inside me dropped. I immediately checked my gallery. I hadn't posted anything all day. Was my camera on? No, it wasn't. There was no one around me either. That sweater could have only been noticed by someone who saw me. Up close. I deleted the message, blocked the account, told myself it was a prank. Maybe someone I knew, maybe a friend of a friend, maybe someone had seen me at the cafe. I tried to convince myself. But the unease didn't go away. The next day, around the same time, a new account sent another message. "It was really upsetting that you blocked me. You wouldn't want to hurt my feelings, would you?" This time, my hair stood on end. My eyes went from the phone to my room to the windows. I closed the curtains, tried not to look into the darkness outside, but my hand kept going back to the glass. That night, every sound outside my home made me jump. Was it the wind? A neighbor's door? A footstep? Nothing happened for 2 days. Just when I thought it was over, a new message arrived. "You left a bit early today. Strange to skip coffee. You must be busy." I laughed out loud, but nervously. He was watching me. He knew what time I left home. He knew my routine. He described the cafe I went to, the table I sat at, the conversations I had. When he mentioned specific things I had discussed with my friends, I knew this was no longer just stalking. I went to the police, showed them the screenshots. My panic was obvious, but the officer's response was cold. At this point, there's no physical threat. He may be scaring you, but we can't take legal action without solid evidence. In that moment, I felt completely alone. Every place I thought was safe now felt like a trap. Even my home, even my bedroom, felt exposed. One night I woke up with a jolt, a message alert. I rubbed my eyes, unlocked my phone. This time, it wasn't a message, it was a photo. Of me, sleeping, in my room. The way my blanket was laid, the way my face rested on the pillow, the glow from my night lamp. It was all from that night, and it was taken from up close. Too close to have been shot from outside the window. That photo was taken from inside my room. I jumped out of bed, checked every corner of my room. Closet, under the bed, balcony door. Everything was locked, but that wasn't comforting. It felt worse. I stayed up in the living room until morning, frozen, a kitchen knife in my hand. The next day, I called the police again. They inspected everything. Fingerprints, footprints, camera footage, nothing. No signs of forced entry, just me. And that photo. That day, I decided to move. A new city, a new apartment. I deleted all my accounts, didn't create new ones. I cut off social media completely. I wanted to become invisible. Even in the new apartment, I didn't feel safe. Curtains always drawn. I checked the locks again and again. Every small sound triggered panic. Then, 3 days later, at 2:41 a.m., my phone buzzed. A video message from an unknown number. I tried not to click, but I couldn't resist. I opened it. The video was inside my new apartment. It started in my bedroom. The person holding the camera moved slowly. They walked to my wardrobe, opened the door, leaned inside. Their fingers moved across the clothes hanging inside. And then, the red sweater. They touched it, pressed down slowly. The camera held that frame. In the background, you could hear breathing, heavy, close, real. Then, a whisper, "I will never give up on you." The video ended. I looked up from my phone. My wardrobe door was slightly open. I was sure I had closed it. Right then, I heard a faint creak from the wooden floor just outside my room. Tiny, but real. I grabbed the pepper spray by my bed, crawled to the other side. My whole body tensed. The door slowly opened. The lights were off, but I could see the silhouette. Tall, slim, wearing something, a mask? I couldn't quite tell, but it wasn't someone I knew. They stepped inside, slowly. I jumped up, sprayed the gas right in their face. They screamed and stumbled back. I ran. With all my strength, I reached the door. I opened it, ran out into the street, screaming. Lights turned on in nearby homes. Police arrived in minutes. The intruder was seen fleeing on camera, but his face was covered. He left no trace behind. Years have passed. New city, new life, but no peace. Whenever my eyes land on the door handle at night, I feel it again. That weight. And sometimes, I still hear it. Like a whisper from the darkness, reminding me, I will never give up on you. Do you have a real-life horror story to share? Tell us your terrifying experience, and we might bring it to life in our next video. Send your true horror stories to the email in the description, and your story could be featured soon.